So, hello again. Now, this is the R2R Austrian Alps video. First time actually doing something, yeah, so just walking around showing it. So I've ordered parts. Look at these. We've got rear springs, front springs, shock absorbers front and back, because remember we've destroyed one of those already. I've got some ball joints for the front, because the rubbers are gone on this this one here. And unfortunately, oh, and then there's the other ones. Yeah. Oh, and bits of springs going. Don't know. Anyway, we have to get another MOT on this car, and the car is going for an MOT in approximately 1 week, 7 days. I have to get this MOT ready. So, first thing we're going to do is change the springs, yeah, and everything else. Well, we're going to just change it all, really. But as you can see, look at this side. Look how low it sits. Yeah. And then look how high it sits. Don't know if it comes out very well on video, but it is a good inch difference. The front is very low. I don't know if you can see that. Which is nice, it sits low, but when you come to bumps, it's a bit... Yeah, so what we're going to do is we're going to change it all. Now, this is an XJ Sport, and I've bought the springs off a normal, for a normal X300, not the Sport version, because I was told... I don't know how true this is, but I was told that the sports one does sit lower, yeah, when it's new. Or you can have the normal suspension, because it's all the same car, it should all just fit. But if you put the normal springs on, normal suspension, it will sit slightly higher, which in one way I'd rather it sat a little bit higher. And it's a bit, I don't know, it's apparently a bit better. I don't know, we'll find out when we put it on, but let's get going. So, what we're going to do, we're going to replace the shock absorber. Now this is the one that broke, and I put this piece of rubber in. So I'm going to change that. I've just got a new one up there. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but this rubber here is completely deteriorated. So I'm going to change that as well. This one isn't too bad, the top one, but to me if you're going to replace the bottom one, you might as well replace the top one. You know? And I've got a new spring. Now these springs aren't actually broken, I think they've just got old and they've sagged a bit over the age, so new springs will just give it a bit more of a, firm the car up a bit. Right, let's get going. So I've got the car in bits and I've got the old spring out. Now, there's the top of the old shock, disintegrated, and there's the old spring. Okay, there's the old ball joint, that one has actually gone. There's a bit of play in that one. So I've put the new one in. Now, sorry I didn't film this. Unfortunately, I got quite stressed and it didn't really work very well, so I give up on the day. It's actually raining now, so I don't know how much I can do. Now, this is the new spring. Now, I've had some problems. I have external spring compressors, which are no good. So I've had to go out and buy an internal spring compressor to be able to do this. So, let's see how we get on. So to compress these springs, I brought it into the internal spring compressor, but to get it in here is what you call an absolute nightmare. Now, you are supposed to have a proper tool to do this. Yeah, I am going to paint all this as well while I do it, but I'm using the air gun here because it's a lot quicker. And a lot less effort as well, if you know what I mean. But yeah, this is an absolute nightmare of a job. I'll tell you now, it was a nightmare the first time, it's a nightmare again. And we're in the middle of winter now, and it's just raining all the time. But let's see how we get on. So, to get this spring in, the internal spring compressor was rubbish. The external ones are rubbish, so we've come up with this. Saw someone on YouTube doing it. He had just 6 bolts and just wound them all up a little bit until it all went in. So far it's going very well. Now Dad's made all these bits here and all this and that, so it's good on Dad. But yeah, once we get this in, we're not too bad. This is the worst part of the job. There's one side done. I think it looks good now. Well, let's do another one. So that's one corner of the car done now. I didn't film much of it, not as much as I'd like to have done, but I've got another side to do yet, so don't worry. But it sits better anyway. No, I had a lot of problems there. Unfortunately, you need a proper tool to put the spring in, which I didn't know about until I took it out. And the tool we got, Dad got some bolts made the same. I don't know, I'll show you the kit on the next bit. Keep watching. So this is now the passenger side, so you can see the bush is deteriorated quite a lot here. So we've got a new shock for this side, upper, lower and spring. So I'm going to try and film a bit more of this side, because unfortunately on the other side I didn't have the right equipment, it all went wrong and it was a nightmare. So we can have another go, alright? So let's have a go, see how we get on. As you can see, this is completely gone, so look at that. Good job of changing them, isn't it? Like I say, the ball joints on this side, this one's good, but the one on the bottom, you can't really see it there, so we get a better angle, bear with me. The one on the bottom there, the rubber's gone, so it's leaking grease, and also I think there is a little bit of play there. There was in the other side, really bad. And yeah, so once you get the spring out, you get the new spring in, that's the worst part. So if you watched my previous videos, when we took this car on to Swiss Alps, I replaced the discs and the pads. The pads are still quite good on it, to be fair. I think I'll get another trip on those. I am debating whether to change them, but I don't know. There's a lot on there, it's just that you do a lot of heavy braking down the mountains and things, so I don't know. But at the moment, so the tops I'm done. I'm just taking the brake caliper off at the minute. I just took one nut off here, the other one's further down. And then we'll rest this on a bit of wood and do a bit more. So there's the ball joint. So the joint itself hadn't actually gone. There's no play in it at all. It's just the rubber has gone. But I mean, if you're going to take the car apart, change with the springs, you can't. What's the point in changing just the rubber? You know? I mean, the whole part there is about £12. To buy the rubber piece on its own was about £8. Well, you've got to take it off to change the rubber bit, which they're a bit of a pig sometimes because you have to knock them off. So you might as well just change the whole thing. Really, might. The upper ones actually doesn't look. I think that's been replaced in the last 10 years, but we're changing that anyway. So I've got a new one. So yeah. So we're getting it apart. Just got to whip that out of there. Put the new ball joints in. Then whip the spring out. Now this is the worst part of it. So there's a new upper ball joint, and there's a new lower ball joint. Not bad. So we're just going to fit these in. These are quite easy to put in. You just literally pop that in there, then put the nuts back in. Top one. Now with the top one, I put it in the top here. Now with the shims. So there is shims as well, so you have to make sure you don't mess that up. So when you put this in, then leave that, and then do the spring, and then you've sort of got half back together again. And then literally when you've taken the spring out, put the spring back in, you put the bottom ball joint in, and then just put a jack and just jack it up until this one goes straight through the hole, tighten it up, and you're pretty much on the ball then for being done. Right, let's get going. So that's the bottom ball joint in. Yeah. And I've just put the top one in with the shims. Now, when you take those out, you need to remember where they were on the car, and this is where they were. So I'll put them back in the exact same place. Now, if you notice, I'm using new bolts. So basically, what happened was on the other side of the car, one of these snapped off in here. So Dad took it out I took the arm off, and Dad took it out for me. But he went and got us some new bolts. So obviously, I'll imagine all these are strengthened bolts. So Dad went somewhere where they have every bolt going for every type of car, and the guy even knew it was Jaguar before he measured it, so he knew his nuts and bolts, didn't he? Because like I say, one of these snapped off. So what I've done is, because Dad's been and bought several new ones, I've decided to put the new ones in, and I'll keep the old ones as spares. Because let's be honest, this isn't going to be the only Jaguar, is it, we're going to have. So yeah, I might as well put the new ones in case I have to whip something off. It's a bit easy, it might come off easier. Alright. So I'm about to remove the spring. So I'm about to remove the spring. Now the best way to do this is you are supposed to have a tool that you put through the bottom here, and it sort of goes into this piece up here. But I don't have a proper tool, so I watched a man on YouTube and he did it like this. He bought some bolts. So let me just get on the floor. Bought some bolts, threaded ones like that, and put them all in. So you take one out, put this in, tighten it up tight, and then basically you just undo all of them a little bit at a time until it drops down, the spring drops out, and then put the new spring in, then do them all up a little bit until it's fully in, and then just take one out, put the bolt back in, take the other one out, put the bolt back in. And that's how I did the other side. Now Dad made these little bits here, just to make it a bit easier, because you don't want it sort of tight on the job, you sort of want to give yourself a bit of space. But Dad made those, so you can't buy them, I'm afraid. If you ask him, he might make you a set of these, but yeah. So I think this whole kit that Dad made was, it cost about £20, because he bought these parts, he went somewhere and took one of these bolts with him, and then had them made, and then basically, yeah, you just put a set of nuts on. But these are actually high tensile, not normal. These are actually a bit stronger. And then you just cut some bits of pipe here and put some washers on to make it right. But like I say, after you've done probably like, I don't know, I'd say about 4 of these springs, I'd say these are getting a bit past it really, because I think the threads start to wear, because when you tighten it, because it's so much pressure, this plate has a habit of taking off the threads a little bit with the pressure. But yeah, like I say, it'd get you out of stut, and this was only like £20 for the whole lot, I think. I don't think it was even that, I think it was more like tenner, to be honest. But yeah, this is how we're doing it, so let's see how we get on. A lot taller for the front. Now, this car's an XJ Sport 3.2 litre. These are springs I bought for a normal standard X300, they're not Sport, so I was told the Sport one does sit slightly lower. Now, I've picked the normal springs, because people might think, why have I done this? Because when we did Rust to Rome last year, well, this year technically still, for now, some of the roads you go on, a lot of speed bumps, you've got a lot of weight in the car as well with all your stuff. So I was thinking, if you have a higher spring, you can put more weight in the car and you can get over all the speed bumps with no problems. You go on a rough road, dirt tracks, anything, you're disassembled now. So the spring is completely rusted into the mount. In fact, I can't even push it off. I'm going to have to knock it off with a hammer. So let's just hope the mount's not rusted away. So now we've got quite a long process. Just tighten one of these up, keeping it level, and eventually when you get to the top, remove one, put the nut in. Remove the next one, put the nut in. So yeah, let's see how we get on. Now this does take an hour alone just to get it up there. So let's see how we get on. So I've been here about 30 minutes and it's nearly in. Just see the gap. So what I do is, oh, that one I forgot, missed that one, hang on, bear with me. What you want to get yourself is one of these ratchet, I don't know what you call it, it's just a ratchet spanner, I suppose. It makes things a lot quicker. Oh, hang on, it's all gone a bit wrong now I'm on camera. There we go. So basically what I do is, with these 4 studs that Dad made, I put one of these, the first 2 and the back 2, I do those up so the plate is level going up, and these middle ones I literally just do these at finger tight just to hold it, just to give it, because obviously there's a lot of pressure in this spring, let's be honest, yeah, and you see you are curving the spring as well. So like I say, I'll do these ones up so it's nice and level, and then just do this one up just to give it extra bit of support when you've gone up a bit. But like I say, within an hour you can have it back in, but it does take a lot of ratcheting to get in and a bit of patience, I'm afraid. Like I say, you can buy the Jaguar tool for this, but it's not cheap. And like I say, I don't actually know how good that is either, but I saw someone do this in America on his, and he said it took ages, but it worked, and it worked the other side. So then literally as soon as I've got this done up, you take one of these out, and then you just put the nut back, replace it with a proper bolt, and then away you're done, you've done it. The spring's in, and that is, I'd say, the worst part of the front suspension, is putting a new spring in and out. I've done this on an XJS Jaguar, but I think this one was slightly worse. Right, let's get it done, let's get it in. So that's the spring in now. It's all bolted up underneath. So with these, I would say they'll only really do 2 springs, because let me find one that's a bit damaged. They do, I don't know if it's going to come out in here. it does chew the threads a bit as you're doing this up. So you can see the top of the thread there, like I say. So yeah, but that was like £10 or something for all of that to make that. It took a bit longer than it probably does with the original spring compression tool, but at the end of the day it's in for a tenner, where the Jaguar tool is like £200. So if you're like me and you only do it once every now and again, is it really worth paying £200 for a tool when you can pay tenner and spend like 30 minutes longer? But anyway, it's in. So let's get the rest of it put back together now. All back together again now. Now look, there's my new shock. Spring, top and bottom ball joint. Calipers back on. These discs were new last year. They look a bit, but these are actually, as you can see, they're actually brand new pretty much. They're a bit rusty, they've been out in the weather, but they'll soon shine up again when I go down the road. Like I say, the pads on it are good, but I'm debating whether just to change it just for the trip, just in case. Because like I say, if you do a lot of downhill braking, you can wear them off quite quick. So yeah, that's the front done, both sides. Very happy with that. So now let's get on with the rear end of the car, because I heard this is fun and games as well. So thank you for watching. Watch for part 2 when we do the rear of the car. Okay, now I'll try and film this a bit better than I did the front of the car. But like I say, I had serious problems with the equipment. I had to get the spring in, so it sort of distracted me a bit. But see you all next time and have a great time.